Hello everyone, hope you guys are doing well. So today we would be revising a little bit about JavaScript that we studied earlier, and then we would be going ahead with operators. Okay, so what did we learn previously? So previously we learned how to add a comment. So if you have a double slash and then anything written besides that will be a comment. Now this will not be executed by the JavaScript interpreter. Then we can also have this will be a multi-line comment. Now there are two types of so variables. We have two types of data. First is primitive are immutable. For example, boolean string numbers. The numbers, we don't get an error here if we exceed the range. Answer will be positive or negative infinity. Answer will be can be a positive or a negative infinity as well. Now 0 by 0 is a not a number. It will be always be equal to itself. Okay, 0 it will be a not a number, or nan will be always equal to nan. Then we have infinity in JS. Then we have null and undefined. Boolean is basically true or false. Strings is it is actually considered as a sequence of characters, or generally in other languages we say it as an array, but these are immutable. Then we have null. Null is basically when we programmatically assign. It represents no level, but we are programmatically assigning this to a value, to a variable. And undefined is something that has not been yet initialized. Now these are all passed by values. That means whenever we pass them, we pass a copy. The original value is retained as it is. Although these are primitives, but then there is something called as wrapper, which will provide additional functionalities to these variables. So then even we have certain methods available as well, even though they are primitives. Then is object. Now object is basically something where we do, it's a blueprint, and then these are passed by reference. So each object will have now there are different types. One is array is an object. It is stored, it's an object because here there is no pass by value, it's passed by reference. Now ordinary JS object is unordered, so that means whenever we try to take a value, we don't know what it will be returned. The map object is basically mapping. Now even functions are and classes are object. Now functions are first class citizens over here. Anything that does not belong to the list of objects are basically considered to be as primitives. Now there is one special type of object, which is the global object. Now we can use underscores as separators. So say for example there is 1000, so we can use 1 underscore 3 zeros. Yeah, this will basically indicate the value, will basically indicate certain value. Now then there is types of variables. We have let, const and var. However, as per ES6, let is the preferred one. Now before initialization, both const and let are in the temporal dead zone, but even if not initialized, let will return undefined because const is something that cannot change. So then that is why there is no undefined assignment to const. However, let can have that undefined value, like even if it's not initialized. Then okay, then once they are initialized, it comes out of the temporal dead zone and can be used. However, const needs to be initialized there and there itself, else it won't work. And then there we have certain math functions. Now there is some peculiarity is okay. So JavaScript internally will perform type conversions at type conversions implicit. JavaScript does this implicitly. For example, in math.max, if you do not pass any value, then it will say okay, the smallest possible value is infinity. So since there is nothing to compare with infinity, the max will be that. And same goes for minimum. The largest possible value will be infinity since there is nothing to compare to it. So the answer will be positive infinity. Now CL is so CL and floor can be considered as CL is the nearest integer ahead, and floor is the uh, nearest integer when you go backwards towards on the number line. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. There are copies generated. This is cost passed by a copy. Now there is something called as template literal. Now suppose if you want to pass a variable into a string, we use template variable. The object to string, object to primitive conversion. So there are two types of algorithm that is being followed. One is prefer a number, prefer a string, and then there is no preference. Suppose if you're trying to convert a string to object to a string. So first a string is a primitive. These are basically converting to primitives. Okay. Yeah, so this is basically about the temporal dead zone. Now, so today we will be studying about what are expressions and operators. Now, this chapter documents expressions and operators, which many of those expressions are built. Expression is something that can be evaluated to a value. So, whatever, if suppose if we get a value, also this is the very common question, like what is an expression? Anything that evaluates to a value. Anything that evaluates is a expression. Now, an expression is a that can be evaluated to give a value. So here it's not working. Let us remove the highlight. Highlight. Now constant is basically okay. Constant is something that is constant in the program. The complex expressions are built using simpler expressions. Yeah, so wherever possible, for example, in arrays as well, we can use an expression. It will should evaluate because it will evaluate a value. Now the most common way or the how to make an expression. So using for to make an expression, we will use an operator. An operator is basically that combines values with an operand. Generally, operators are generally we have two operands in an operator, but there are uh, uni operand as well. So the multiplication is x into y will evaluate into a product. For simplicity, we sometimes written that an operator returns a value rather than it will return a value. We will study all kinds of operators and also explain expressions, indexing, function invocation that allows you to operate. If you have already known other languages that you see, since you find that syntax of most expressions and operators is already familiar to you. Now, primary expressions. The simplest expression known as a primary expressions are those that stand alone. They do not include any simpler expressions. Primary expressions in JavaScript are constant or literal values. So 1.1.23. Okay. Now some of JavaScript's reserved words are primary expressions. For example, true. We learn true, false, and so there are something called as truthy and nullsy, falsy values. Now remember, object everything is an expression here. This is not a constant. It evaluates two different values in different places in the program. This keyword is in object-oriented programming when the body of a method. This evaluates to the object on which the method was invoked. Okay, so everything is an expression here. Now, when any identifier appears by itself in the program, JavaScript sometimes assumes it is a variable or a constant or a property of the global object and looks up its value. If no variable with that name exists, then an attempt to evaluate a non-existent variable throws a reference error. For example, constant. Object and array initializers. Object and array initializers are expressions whose value is a newly created object on an array. These initializer expressions are sometimes called object literals and array literals. Unlike two literals, however, they are not primary expressions because they include a number of sub-expressions that specify property and element values. Array initializers have a slightly simpler syntax, and we will begin with those. An array initializer is a comma-separated list of expressions contained within square brackets. The value of an array initializer is a newly created array. The elements of this array are initialized to the value of the comma-separated expressions. Okay. The element expression is an array initializer. Okay. The brackets, yeah, it will be an array. The square bracket expression inside. Also, what is trying to say is. So what will an array initializer since an array initializer, okay, also gives a value, therefore it is an expression itself. So expressions are written using are made using operators. So there are two types of operators. One is they can have two operands. They also can have single operand. Now, an array initializer is a comma-separated list of expressions contained within square brackets. The value of an array initializer is a new array. So, the expression inside the brackets means no elements. The element expressions in an array initializers can be the element expressions, which means these expressions can create nested arrays. For example, is a comma separated list of expressions. Oh, so what he's saying is these all are expressions. The value of an array. So the value of this array is a newly created array. An empty array. The elements of this newly array are initialized to the values of the comma separated expressions. So if there is nothing, then this will be these are expressions, and this will return me a new array with 1 2 3 4 as the values in it. The elements of this new array are initialized to the values of the comma separated expressions. Now the element expression is an array initializer can themselves be array initializers, which means that these expressions can create nested arrays. So I can have nested arrays as well. An array initializer is a comma separated list of expressions contained within. Also, this array initializer is also an expression because it returns. So whenever I do this, I'm doing array initialization, and this value will be an array which will have all these values. That's what he's trying to say. Oh yeah, I'm down here. Whenever we use like we are saying that initialize a new array Okay, the element expression is an array initializer and evaluated at each time the array initializer is evaluated. So now what happens to these expressions inside? So the time suppose if we have something like 1 plus 1, so the inside expressions the moment we evaluate or initialize. The value of an array initialized may be different. It sometimes evaluated undefined elements can be included in a array by simply omitting a value. Yeah. Okay, a single trailing comma is allowed after the last expression an array initializer and does not create an. Okay, so what if we have something like so this basically means somebody saying is if I have let maybe 2 comma so then if I do console dot so of a of 1 this shouldn't return and this should return undefined. The value is not defined, right? I need to terminal. Yeah. Function, there's something which I maybe let me see the error. Console.log. Oh, sorry, it's array. Yeah. You see, we get a reference error. So what this is trying to do is see the error. It's searching for this error. It is not defined in the first. It searches whether we have it's present over here. If it's still not present, then it searches in the global object whether we have defined it in the global object or not. If it still does not find it, then it shows that there is an error, reference error. Let's increase this. Oh, can we do that? Oh, I need to toggle. Oh, I need to have this up. No. Customize layout. No. Let's have this thing here. Let's increase the size. Let's do a clear. See. So what happened here is basically since the remaining values are not defined, so it will say undefined. So if I click here, does it show anything? Okay. Yeah, so if let array 2 equal to 2 comma, so all the values will be undefined. The object initializer expressions are like array initializer expressions, but the square brackets are replaced by curly brackets. And okay, so similarly, same. Okay, in a similar, we can create objects initializer by using curly braces. Like an relation, but the square brackets are replaced by curly brackets, and each sub expression is prefixed. Okay, and each sub expression will be is a property value. It's a property value pair. ES6 have much more features. I can find 6 points. This is chapter number 6. So we will see, and we can next them as well. Now, function definitions expression. Our function definition expression defines the JavaScript function, and the value of such an expression is a newly defined function. For example, since a function definition expression is a function literal in the same way that an object initializes an object literal, a function definition typically consists of the keyword function followed by a comma, list, or zero or more identifiers. The parameter names in parentheses and a block of JavaScript code. So function name. So he's saying a JavaScript is also a function. Oh, sorry, he's saying in a similar way, functions are also expressions. Now, I can use here as square equal to if I print square c, print one power console.log. If I do console.log of square, it's also a function, right? What does it say? Can I say everything is an expression in JavaScript? I'm not sure. Log out. Oh, why did I do log out? I need to go on new incognito. Is everything an expression in JS? Okay. So now one thing that we can conclude is this is a expression oriented language. Can I say that? Was everything will evaluate to a value. Okay. So it is very similar to an expression oriented language, but it is not fully an expression oriented language, where many operations are treated to be as expression. Yeah, we are assigning evaluate. So this is evaluating to some value, you see, which is undefined. Property access expressions. A property access expression evaluates to the value of an expression called dot. The JavaScript defines two syntaxes for property access. One is a dot and then is expression. The first type of property access is an expression followed by a period and an identifier. The expression specifies the object and the identifier specifies the name of the desired property. The second style is to follows the first expression with another expression in square brackets. The second expression specifies the name of the desired property or the index of the desired array element. Here are some concrete examples. Okay, let's see. Why did I delete? Okay. Now what he's saying is, suppose I have an object, let x equal to, I need to declare an object, right? So object is basically property value expression, or this can be 1 y colon 2. Now what if I want to use this? So I can do instant dot log, either I can do x dot, so it automatically give me the list, or one I can do as x bracket problems. An element express access expression should, you see, this is an expression, it should take an argument over here. What's one? Let's comment a lot of stuff here. Do an undefined. The second side of property accesses the first expression. Second specifies the name of the desired property. So what? Oh, there is no property. It should be property. Let us talk it. Okay, we clear it off. Why? So y is not defined. It says oh, so this is used in arrays, he's trying to say. This is for arrays, okay. With object, the second style of property accesses follows the first expression. The object or array with other expression in square brackets This second expression specifies the name of the desired property or index of the desired array element. Now, how is that? This is okay. O dot x. This is okay. This is O dot y dot z. Yeah, okay. Mm, properties z. Oh, this is O of x. Oh, I need to. This has to be in. He's trying to say put this in. Now let's see what happens. Do we get? Yeah. This has to be in. In. Uh, in inverted commas. I forgot to write inverted commas. I forgot to write the inverted commas there. Okay. With either type of property access expressions, the expression before the dot of the is first evaluated. If the value is null or undefined, the expression shows the first the expression before dot. So I have an expression. So this expression is first. If there is nothing over here, then I get null or undefined or if it's first evaluated. If the value is null or undefined, the expression throws a ref type error by dot and an identifier. Okay. Now conditional property access. Now ES2020 adds new kind of property access. Now what? In JavaScript, the values null and undefined are the only two values that do not have properties. In the regular property access expression using dot, you get a type error if the expression on the left evaluates to null. Now you can use question mark dot and the question mark dot syntax to guard against errors. Consider the expression a question mark dot b if a is null. Now this is something. Then the expression evaluates to undefined without the attempt. If a is some other value, then a question dot b evaluates to a dot b will evaluate. If it does not have a property named b, then it will be again be undefined. Okay, so now there is one problem here. The problem is first, if I have x dot something, say, okay, if we have x dot y, then first the left hand side is evaluated. Now that is and if that returns a null or undefined, we get reference error. Now consider the expression a dot b. If a is null or undefined, then the expression evaluates to okay. Let's suppose if I have an object saying let a equal to B colon. This is programmatically I send the value as 0. Now if I do console log a, then this also should return a value, because yeah, it returns a value b dot null. Now what if I do something like, oh yeah, that will give me a type reference error, right? So this is basically if the expression on the left, so if this a, so if I have written console.log, now I get a null. Why am I getting a null? Also here it's saying b, so whatever b is evaluating to null, right? B's value is, this is the property and this is the value, and then this is the value if you go here. So now what does this check? If left is null or undefined, then answer is null. Oh, sorry, then answer is undefined. Undefined. It is not null, or then right will be evaluated. This remove property access expression is sometimes called, this is called as optional chaining, because it works for longer chains property like this. For example, if I do, okay, so now if I do again, what if I don't put a dot, I put a C? What does it say? This should be undefined. Here, this is, although this value will be found, but this will be null or undefined, right? It will turn your engine itself. Or this is called as optional chaining. This is called, yeah, so like in Swift also we have optional, right? The value may or may not exist. And if that object has no buffer, then a dot c will be okay. Now condition property access with question. This is the newest features in An invocation expression is an JavaScript syntax for calling a function or a method. It starts with the function expression that identifies the function to be called. The function expression is followed by an open parenthesis, a comma separated list of 0 or more arguments, and a closed parenthesis. An invocation expression is JavaScript syntax for calling. Invocation expression is JavaScript syntax for calling a function or a method. An invocation expression. For example, if I have, let's suppose if I do this. Oh yeah, this is comments, right? Like a function a, not this. Oh, a is already defined, right? This is first function, and then I do sorry, return 10. Now how to invoke is I will be using invoke a, because even if I don't do return, but if I do a console dot log, now suppose if I write first function and then if I do console dot log, now this will still return some value. The value that it returns is undefined. So this is an invocation expression. When an invocation expression is evaluated, the function is evaluated first and then the argument plus its expressions are evaluated to produce a list of argument values. Is not a function if the value of the function expression what was he trying to say? If the value of a function is the value of the function expression. What is he saying? If the value of a function expression is not a function means oh, so when it does not return a function and we try to invoke it, then it will get a also what he's saying is, but where is this a function? This is undefined. What if I do a type of STE console? Oh, didn't save it. But here the return value is undefined, it's not a function. Why do you mean evaluating? Means the final value. But this does not evaluate to a function. For example, suppose what we do const. So now if I print this should give me, yeah, see, functions. This is a function. Those are special functions that do not have names, so which is first function. Okay. Okay, in ES20 you can also invoke a function using, instead of, normally when you invoke a function, if the expression to the left of the parenthesis is null or undefined. So how is he doing this? Conditional for invocation. For example, if I have an object and suppose I define O as this function. This is a function. Missing. Now I can save if x so x will be an object. This will evaluate to this object. Since right, if I only do x, then it will give me this object entire. So why do I have, what's the advantages of having? So everything is Now expressions are constructs. Now what are constructs? So in JavaScript everything returns a value. There are very few statements that won't evaluate the value. Okay, what does not evaluate the value? There are only very few things that does not evaluate. These all do not evaluate to a value. So what's the advantage in terms of speed when we have expressions over other language? What has this to do with context switching? Context switching is basically, when the operating system keeps on. This is something interesting. Oh yeah, context switching happens. Oh, this is a very bad thing. Yeah, at any point the context switching can happen. But here, since it is on a single line, very less possibility. You might, no, it might need process synchronization. We'll have to do that. Yeah, PCB needs to be saved. However, this happens very fast, but in JavaScript there is very minimum context switching happening. So that's all for this video. We'll continue in the next video.